Martin Truex Jr. breaks his 54 race winless streak today at Dover, and Ross Chastain strikes again. Let's talk about NASCAR on a Monday afternoon at Dover. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host, Alex Lambert, and let's talk about NASCAR at Dover. Martin Truex Jr. gets his fourth win at Dover. 3 of those 4 coming on a Monday afternoon after the race has been postponed. Also, this breaks Martin Truex Jr.'s 54 race winless streak. And by the way, Martin Truex Jr.'s brother won the Xfinity race a couple of days ago on Saturday. So a good week for the Truex family, and of course a great week for Martin Truex Jr. and a great racetrack for Martin Truex Jr. Like I said, getting that 4th win at the racetrack. 2007 he won at this racetrack. That was his first ever career win on a Monday afternoon, and his only Sunday win came in 2016 at Dover, back when he was driving for Furniture Row Racing. And then 2019 at Dover, that was on a Monday afternoon. And then, of course, 2023, his 4th win today at Dover, once again on a Monday afternoon. So call him Martin Mondays, Martin's Dover Mondays or something like that, because he can really win at this place on a Monday afternoon. And he's always been really fast at this racetracks. Had a couple of close races here as well. So good to see Martin Truex Jr. back in victory lane. He come close a few times last year, but really showed a lot of speed at the beginning of this season. If you remember, he did win the Clash, which is a non-points race, earlier back in February this year. And Truex has showed a lot more speed this year, and has had a little bit more luck on his side this year as well than he did in 2022. And 2022 was kind of a wild year. So I'm glad to see Martin Truex Jr. back. And I said this, last year with Chase Elliott as well, Martin Truex Jr. has now got that win, so he's obviously guaranteed in the playoffs this season. But watch Martin Truex Jr. this year. He's really a consistent driver, a really good NASCAR driver. Is Martin Truex Jr. a potential championship threat? 100%, especially after getting this win today. This could give him a boost of momentum for him and this team to start getting more wins. I wouldn't be surprised to see Martin Truex Jr. knock off a lot more wins this season in that 19 Joe Gibbs Toyota. So want to watch this team now that they have that win in their back pocket. They can now maybe take some more risks now that they're guaranteed in the playoffs. So definitely just keep an eye out for that. Let's take just a quick look here at the last final restart. This was with 8 laps to go. We took the green flag. You see here, Ryan Blaney tried to race him. Ryan Blaney on the bottom, Martin Truex Jr. on the high side, and that was a really good battle, as Martin Truex Jr. claimed in his post-race interview. It was a very clean battle, which he respected as well. Now remember, Ross Chastain did have 4 tires, so Ross Chastain, a little bit fresher tires, was able to come up and try to get to Truex at the very end of the race, but Truex was just way faster. And I think, the difference from 2 tires to no tires was a really big difference, but the difference from 2 tires to 4 tires didn't seem to make much of a difference regarding lap times. Obviously, Truex Jr. kept his foot in the gas there with 7 laps to go and was able to excel on the back straightaway and take the lead away from Ryan Blaney and ultimately win the race. Ryan Blaney went on to finish 3rd, Chastain 2nd, and Martin Truex Jr. obviously to get the win today. So obviously, congratulations to him. So let's go through the top 10 just real quick. Let's go ahead and go through the finishing order. We have Martin Truex Jr., obviously, like I said, your winner, Chastain 2nd. And we're going to talk a little bit about Chastain in a little bit as he caused another accident here in this race. And then Ryan Blaney in 3rd, who's having a much better season than he did last year as well. Been running very consistent. Can't quite get that win yet. And Blaney's been one of those drivers where he's kind of in the top 5 a lot, but doesn't always get the win, which is definitely frustrating. William Byron had a strong day as well, led over 100 laps in this race earlier on in the race, but faded a little bit on the long run. I think lost a lot of position on a tire strategy where he stayed out, everybody else pitted, or maybe he got 2 tires, something of that nature. I do remember he tried a different pit strategy than everybody else did tire-wise, and that didn't help out William Byron at all as he started to fade. Almost went down a lap. He might have went a lap down, actually, and then got it back. So rough go there for William Byron, who was really fast but lost the lead, but was able to come back up and get a 4th place finish. He was really fast all day long. Like I said, led over 100 laps, but just with the way the strategy call went, just couldn't quite get back up there to 1st. And Truex was obviously the class of the field, and Chastain were the two drivers of the field all day long. Denny Hamlin looked to be the fastest race car early on in the race. I believe it was the very start of the race in stage one. Denny Hamlin was running the fastest lap times out of anybody in the field, but never really cracked the top three. Stayed in fifth, sixth, maybe even fourth all day long. Really didn't see him anywhere else but there. Christopher Bell, sort of same situation, was in the fifth, sixth place all day long, finished in the sixth position. Tyler Reddick, a solid day, finishing seventh. Brad Keselowski, who actually overcame a pit road penalty, hit the tire, fell in front of his car. He took off, knocked the tire out, uncontrolled tire penalty. Brad Keselowski was able to recover from that penalty on pit road and get an 8th place finish. And his teammate, Chris Buescher, actually they started side by side, they finished side by side. Chris Buescher, a solid 9th place finish, and Josh Berry in the 48 car for Alex Bowman filling in once again, gets a top 10 in the Hendrick Motorsports car. So Josh Berry continues to impress here as he keeps filling in for these drivers. So we hope to see Alex Bowman back, but definitely exciting to see what Josh Berry can do here with these upcoming weeks. Now, there is one driver that is not on this top 10 list that had a fantastic day for the entirety of the race until they found out they did not fill up the race car entirely on the last pit stop, so he was short on fuel 7 laps. That is Ty Gibbs, driver of the 54 Joe Gibbs Toyota. He was running in the top 5 for majority of the end of this race. It looked like Ty Gibbs was definitely set for a top 5 finish, nonetheless a top 10 finish. And then unfortunately, it seems like they didn't get enough fuel in the fuel tank on the final pit stop, so really unfortunate for him. But I do want to say that Ty Gibbs has really been impressing. He's finished in the top 10 the last few weeks, been running really well. Run out of gas with 2 laps to go last week in Talladega, so didn't have a shot to get a good finish there. Want to watch Ty Gibbs in the 54 car. Will he get a win this year? I don't know. Is there a possibility that he does? I'd say there's a 100% possibility that he does. As fast as he's been running and consistent as he's been the last few weeks, I want to watch the driver of the 54 car, Ty Gibbs, with the upcoming weeks, just how good he's been running. Really this entire season, his rookie season, I say he's having a really impressive rookie season. We talked about the guys that had the good days. We talked about the top 10. Let's talk about the guys that had really bad days that were somewhat expected to have good days. Joey Logano was really awful from the start of the race. Looks like he was having a handful with that race car, and with, I believe it was 13, 14 laps to go, coming on that final run, with just a few laps left in the race, under 20 to go, Joey Logano just loses the race car. You see it here, slides up into the wall, backs into the wall, and a big incident there for Joey Logano. Joey Logano does not finish the race today. That's a few rough weeks for Joey Logano. He's not had the last couple of good weeks since that win in Atlanta over a month ago. Logano's really had a very unsuccessful finishes over the last few weeks. So we'll have to see if Joey Logano can get that turned around going into Kansas, a racetrack that he has won at before. Kyle Busch had problem after problem, started on pole today. Kyle Busch started first. He led the first 20 laps of the race, and they threw the competition caution, and then things hit the fan. It was not good from that point on. Kyle Busch got a pit road speeding penalty, which is really frustrating because pit road speeding penalties has not only cost Kyle Busch a lot over the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 seasons, but has potentially cost him a lot too. You go back to a lot of races this year, almost completely took himself out of the Daytona 500, where he ended up going for the win at the end of that thing. Almost took himself out of the Daytona 500 on a pit road speeding penalty. A couple of races this season, I believe the race he won in Fontana got a pit road speeding penalty. Potentially could have lost that race because of it. Pit road speeding penalties are really frustrating when they're happening almost consistently for Kyle Busch. Gotta clean those things up. They are costing him a lot, and they cost him a lot today. When he got back in the pack, got caught up in an accident. Daniel Suarez got tight, slammed the wall. Don't know if something on the car broke. Don't know if he just couldn't handle the car. It was looked like it was really hard to drive this track. Saw a lot of drivers spin in practice. Daniel Suarez wrecks. A few guys in the back wreck. Ty Dillon. Kyle Busch runs in the back of Ty Dillon, tearing up the front of Kyle Busch's car just a little bit. And with these next-gen cars, and really just ever when you tear up the front end of the race car at any type of aero-dependent track whatsoever, it's going to slow you down a lot. So Kyle Busch, rough day, finishes, I think it was 3 or 4 laps down. He ended up finishing 22nd. Really frustrating day for Kyle Busch. Got to clean up those pit road speeding penalties. It absolutely ruined his day today, or was at least on the start of a bad day. So got to clean those things up if you're Kyle Busch on the 8 team. For sure. I do want to talk about the Kyle Larson incident because Kyle Larson was really fast all day. Once again, I think he was in 5th or 6th place when he got wrecked. Let's take a look at the accident here, and we're going to have to bring in Ross Chastain So you see here Brennan Poole running side by side with Austin Dillon, battling for position. Not a whole lot Brennan Poole could have done there. Ross Chastain gets in the back of him, wrecks the 15 car, or turns the 15 car to the inside of the racetrack. He slides back up into Kyle Larson. Really unfortunate situation there because, Kyle Larson, obviously, he's racing. He hasn't done anything to anybody. He's just trying to run his line, and Larson really had nowhere to go there. And he had a really fast race car, as he said in his interview. Once again, he feels like he's the fastest car of the week and gets taken out from something that's not entirely his fault. Kyle Larson gets taken out from this incident. And then, more importantly, Brennan Poole, who is on a part-time schedule, trying to make a name for himself, trying to get the best finish he can possibly get in that 15 car, gets caught up in a wreck as well. So he finishes in the back of the pack, doesn't even get to get any experience in the new race car, doesn't get to show what he has to other drivers or to other teams and drivers. So just really frustrating situation there that Chastain did that. And I think what drivers are really more frustrated with about Ross Chastain is, this was on lap 80 in the race, and Chastain claims that this was a mistake, and obviously it was a mistake, but then he gets out of the car and apologizes. But the thing is, apologies don't always, he still gets the bad finish. He still loses out on the experience, loses out on the opportunity to impress team owners. So, in somebody who's not racing every race like Brennan Poole, it's super frustrating that this continues to happen. This is, tens of times this has happened, and then he apologizes for it. Chastain, if you're going to do it, just do it. Just do it. Don't apologize for it. I know you don't mean to do it, but just don't stop apologizing. I think that makes it worse, in my opinion. That makes it worse after you apologize constantly and don't clean up anything. So just really frustrating there. That entire situation is just really bad for everybody involved. Let's take just a quick look at the points here. We are 11 races into the 26-race regular season, obviously 36 races total. Let's take a look at the playoff cut line. I have tried my best to calculate the cut line, so I believe this is 100% correct. I will obviously check it and make sure. I will post a correction somewhere on Twitter or YouTube, something like that, if this is incorrect. But let's take a look here at the cut line. Brad Keselowski right now is above the cut, 72 points. Chris Buescher above 46 points. Alex Bowman, obviously not racing right now, was once the points leader, still 39 points above the cut line. So if he misses next week, he might fall below. If he misses 2 weeks, I'm sure he should definitely fall below the cut line there. We'll have to keep an eye on that as well over the next few weeks. Suarez, obviously wrecking early today, didn't get many points on today. 19 below Ty Gibbs in his rookie season. 22 below, Austin Cindric 26 below, and McDowell 33 below. I just wanted to take a quick look at the points there as we are now 11 races in to the 26-race regular season, and we'll keep taking a look at those as we move forward. So that's really all there is to talk about following this Monday race at Dover. We do go to Kansas next week. We got really the entire month of May. We're going more back to our intermediate style tracks. We have Dover, obviously this week that we just completed, which was actually scheduled for April, but run today in May. Then we go to Kansas. Then we go to North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. And then we have the Charlotte race, the Coca-Cola 600. So more of your intermediate style tracks upcoming. We'll have to keep an eye on how that goes. That's it. That's all there's to talk about. And, man, unfortunately about Kyle Busch's awful day, let's get rowdy.